I, like many other people, was excited for the next game under the Rainbow Six name. I'm a big fan of the tactical shooter genre, and hoped that Ubisoft would bring Rainbow Six back to its roots for its next entry. After seeing the trailer for the game, though, I was sorely disappointed. Rainbow Six Quarantine is seemingly heading for a zombie wave shooter approach, nothing at all like its previous games. Seeing the trailer for the upcoming game made me want to retreat from the recent titles. I decided to delve into some of the classics of the tactical shooter category, and was so impressed by how they paved the way for other shooters, as well as what they accomplished despite their age. I wanted to make a video discussing them. To properly go over the tactical shooter genre, though, we must take a look at where it all began back in 1998. First-person shooters in the video game market were thriving in the 90s. Doom, developed by ID Software in 1993, was revolutionary in this field, bringing shooters into the spotlight. Its fast-paced action and immersive graphics for that day made it a wonder to play, and its first episode was played by up to 20 million people within 2 years of its release. It was so popular, it spawned many games that people began naming Doom clones, which basically took the original's gameplay and stuck it in different settings. After the release of Doom, glorified and fast-paced violence was the new must in shooters. Marathon, published by Bungie in 1994, took this idea and added puzzles to create pauses in between action. ID Software also released a spiritual successor to Doom called Quake in 1996, using a never-before-seen 3D engine to show off its advances. The themes for the FPS genre in this decade were thoughtless shooting and super accurate weapons. It boasted of damage-soaking protagonists and actions with little importance. It was fun, but it was mindless fun. This, though, was about to change on the 21st of August, 1998, when a game was released by a studio named Red Storm Entertainment. Red Storm Entertainment was founded by author Tom Clancy and British Royal Navy Captain Doug Littlejohns. The studio's first release was a lesser-known game called Politica, published in 1997. It was based off of Clancy's novel of the same name and played similarly to Risk. Running on the mild success of their first game, the studio then released another one the following year that was again based off a popular Clancy book. This game, released in August of 1998, was Rainbow Six. Rainbow Six takes place in 1999 and has the player lead an anti-terrorist group called Rainbow through a campaign of missions involving hostage rescues, bomb defusing, and the taking down of extremists and terrorists. The gameplay was very different from pretty much every game that was on the market at the time of its release. The player chooses the team's gear, including weapons, camo, and armor. Then the player is given an option to form a plan in a planning phase menu, guiding the teams to take out enemies, extract hostages, and more. After this is completed, the player is dropped into the mission with their fellow operators to enact the plan which they had created. The animations in the game are motion captured and were performed by real former and then current members of SWAT units, giving the game an authentic feel.
Go. Contact. Got him.
The game's enemies are smart. If weapons are unsilenced, a nearby terrorist can hear a shot and head towards the sound. Most shots, if they connect, mean instant death. This rule applies to both enemies and the player. Strafing is a slow process, and the crosshair bloom is huge when moving quickly. If injured, the crosshair magnifies its bloom permanently for that operator as long as the mission continues, making it harder to shoot accurately. Friendly fire is also a threat if the player decides to cross in front of a teammate while they are shooting. All this, combined with teammates permanently dying in the campaign if the outcome of the mission is accepted, makes for very slow and tense gameplay, but it also rewards the player with great satisfaction on a plan perfectly executed after hours of retrying and tweaking. Not at all was it like previous shooters that involved mindless violence and fast-paced kills. The only thing fast about Rainbow Six is how long it takes to die. It made players at the time respect violence and treat it with caution. Rainbow Six did very well in the mainstream media of games. Despite sitting in the same category as simulators in similar genres, it sold over 500,000 units in total and racked in over $8.86 million in revenue. Its sequel, Rainbow Six Rogue Spear, was released on the 31st of August 1999, taking all that its predecessor did and making it even better.
Threat neutralized. Threat neutralized.
It once again followed the counter-terrorist unit Rainbow as it foiled the plans of their enemies within a very interesting campaign, taking the player through a museum, an oil tanker, a space shuttle launch site, and more. The sequel increases the intelligence of your allies, as well as your opponents. Leading is a new feature in this game, allowing the player to peek around corners without their entire body being exposed. The game adds more interesting level designs and an intriguing multiplayer, which was present in the first title, but lacking. This sequel gained quite the amount of success, being held high above its predecessor. The same year, a company called Sierra Entertainment released a title similar to the Rainbow Six franchise. Its name was SWAT 3, and it was published on November 30th, 1999.
SWAT is en route to 5535 North Fairfax Road. SWAT is responding on felony warrant service at that location.
The first two SWAT games developed by Sierra Entertainment, being point-and-click games, sold okay, but nowhere close to great success. The third installment, though, blew its previous games out of the water. Taking place in 2005 Los Angeles, the game has you take control of the leader of a fire team of LAPD SWAT officers as you bust common criminals and terrorists. It boasted of a new engine, simulating environments like never seen before, and also had, for its time, advanced AI as well as ballistic simulation. In this game, non-lethal methods are encouraged and are almost essential to get the best report possible at the end of a mission. Civilians must be secured by handcuffing, as well as surrendering enemies. All people met along the way, dead and alive, civilian and criminal, must be accounted for by relaying their position and condition to the Tactical Operations Center, otherwise known as TOC. The game also introduces a large array of tools, such as the Tactical Mirror, the multi-tool to unlock doors and defuse bombs, and more. The game also gives you the option to see what your teammate is seeing through a viewport in the upper right corner of the screen. This is handy for room breaching and when the team splits. There is no planning in SWAT 3, only a preparation phase involving gear for you and your teammates. Your plans have to be made on the fly. If you are wounded, you'll move more slowly. If you are killed, it's game over. SWAT 3 does not allow you to switch members once you die. It encourages you to give them orders instead. Sierra Entertainment actually discussed with real LAPD SWAT members when creating the game to give it a real and authentic aura. SWAT 3 was a success, selling over 40,000 copies by 2000. At the time, its environmental rendering and AI were unmatched. It was a contestant for Computer Gaming World's Action Game of the Year award, as well as PC Gamer US's Best Action Game award. Both of these, though, went to Rainbow Six Rogue Spear. These two franchises would pretty much dominate the tactical shooter market for the next 7 years. The Tom Clancy name was looking to start a new franchise of tactical shooter, though. On November 13th, 2001, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon was released, taking the theme of realism and first-person shooting into a different field.
Another kill.
This is the first game made by Tom Clancy that isn't based on any of his books. It follows a top-secret military team called the Ghosts as they travel to different locations to stop the plans of enemy militaries and terrorist factions in a variety of missions taking place in forests, deserts, islands, mountains, and more. The game has you take control of a company of soldiers, choosing which soldiers to use and their gear before plopping them into a mission to complete it. The game first gives you default soldiers with average aim, technical fidelity, etc. There are other soldiers called specialists that the player has to unlock by completing certain objectives within the game's missions. The gameplay is similar to Rainbow Six when it comes to key bindings and feel. The polygon count was increased though, making this the best looking tactical shooter for its time. The developers had especially talked about a certain level named Vilnius, which shows off reflections in the puddles of water that litter the streets. Ghost Recon has an interesting choice of settings. All the missions take place in vast areas to traverse, which means that being spotted from far away is a big possibility. The enemies are smart, and will shoot pretty accurately at long distances. Thankfully, the game adds a sniper class to counter them, as well as deadly accurate teammates. The player controls the team as a whole by opening up a map and directing a group by clicking where on the map they should go and at what pace. There are also heavy guns set up in certain areas of missions, and they can be manned. Despite some complaints about enemy AI being too intelligent, the game was a hit, selling 760,000 copies by the end of March of 2002. This was the first and last version of Ghost Recon that was true to the tactical genre and not made mainstream. Every game under the Ghost Recon name that came after the first one was made to appeal more to the general FPS player. Ubisoft purchased Red Storm Entertainment in August of 2000. It even slapped its name on Ghost Recon when it released in 2001. From then on, Ubisoft would influence all the games produced by Red Storm, including Rainbow Six titles. In March of 2003, Rainbow Six Ravenshield was published by Ubisoft. It was known as Rainbow Six 3 on consoles, but I'll be displaying the PC version on the screen.
Tango, down.
Rainbow Six Ravenshield is an immense upgrade from its predecessor, Rainbow Six Roguespear. It runs on Unreal Engine 2.0 and shows off what was for its time sophisticated lighting, textures, and physics. This is the first game in the series to add a first-person gun model, but it can be switched off in the settings. It also trades motion capture death animations for ragdoll physics, which were popular at the time. It once again follows the counter-terrorist team Rainbow through many different locations and situations. The themes of bomb defusing and hostage rescuing have returned as well. The planning phase has been made more simple and direct, making planning more enjoyable. A simplified version of giving orders during gameplay has been introduced. The player can point at an object or space and hold in a button to choose from multiple options on what to tell the team to accomplish. This opens up opportunities for plan-deviating breaches and such. Other new features are being able to cuff surrendering terrorists, as well as slowly open or close doors by rolling the mouse wheel. This allows for more careful entries and the ability to take cover behind a door while firing. The game is definitely slightly more mainstream than its previous titles, but it still keeps its deadly smart AI on the enemy and friendly team, as well as an abundance in tactical options. Its consequences are still deadly if caution and planning isn't used. The game received mostly positive feedback and sold 2.2 million copies by 2004. Computer Gaming World nominated it for Shooter of the Year, but the award went in the end to Call of Duty. Ravenshield is sadly the last true tactical FPS experience a Rainbow Six game would deliver. After Rainbow Six Ravenshield and Ghost Recon, Ubisoft would make future titles from Red Storm appeal to the general audience more by throwing in bullet-soaking protagonists and teammates, as well as enemies whose choices of tactics were questionable to say the least.
Detective 247, Adam, this is Central BCC. Adam, Boy, and Truck 1 responding to 1572 Norman Street for high-risk warrant service.
After a long wait, SWAT 4 was released in April of 2005, exclusively for Microsoft Windows, once again simulating the dangerous work of actual SWAT officers. Taking place somewhere on the East Coast, it puts the player in control of a team of SWAT members, taking them through missions involving terrorist attacks, questionable subjects, and more. The environments in the game are often dark and gritty. Houses and buildings are run down in several missions, and water can sometimes be seen dripping from the ceiling. Running on Unreal Engine 2 as well, this game displays impressive graphics and lighting simulation for its time, as well as higher polygon count. Death animations once again have been traded for ragdoll physics, which look a little odd in this game, but not enough to destroy the feel. Physics is actually a big part of the game, and many smaller objects can be moved or shot to send bouncing. The members of your team sometimes trade small talk to lighten the mood, and have more of a personality in this game compared to the previous.
We have spent wasting so much time and money on video games.
Hey, old man, you're just jealous because your reflexes are too slow.
True to the SWAT feel, this game brings back complex commands for teammates, choices of wearable gear, and a large variety of tools and weapons. Careful with your pickings though. Your weight is being added up with everything you decide to wear and take along. Taking too many things or a few heavy items will slow your operator down. There's plenty to choose from for a loadout. The tactical mirror has gotten an upgrade, now being able to look under doors. Non-lethal weapons have been increased to include beanbag ammunition for shotguns, paintball guns using balls of pepper as ammunition, pepper spray, and more. Once again, the less people injured or killed, the better the final rating on the mission. A figure on the bottom left of the screen has been added, showing red parts on the body where the player has been injured. If one or both of the player's arms are injured, the crosshair's default position will bloom. If the legs of the operator are shot, then sprinting will no longer become an option. Teammates can't die, they are only put out of commission until the next mission or upon a restart. Once again, the enemy AI has been increased. If caught by surprise, the enemy will likely surrender. If left uncuffed, the enemy has a chance of running away or grabbing a weapon to attack the team or a civilian. The enemy can also flee from the player if spotted and lock doors behind them to escape. Enemies can also be shot in the leg to cripple them, slowing their escape or even incapacitating them. Doors can now be armed with charges or blown open with breaching shotguns. Viewing what's happening through a teammate's perspective has returned, as well as a new option to take enemies out with a sniper situated farther away from the main area. The game tries its best to reel you into its setting through off-putting music and its shouts and yells from civilians and enemies. A well-placed shot can take you out instantly, so being careful and thorough is always a must. Houses are often cramped, so friendly fire is an ever-present possibility, as well as being trapped in a corner, which is why managing your team is a necessity. The feedback for SWAT 4 was generally positive. People praised it for delivering a tactical feel and intelligent AI, as well as putting the player in realistic scenarios that police have to deal with. It took second place in Computer Games Magazine's 2005 list of top 10 computer games. The SWAT series never received another sequel after its fourth game. Titles such as Call of Duty and Halo were becoming the forefront of the FPS genre, and Ghost Recon as well as Rainbow Six began molding into the hand-holding action shooters as well. These are fun and all, but they've totally thrown away what started it all in 1998. Yes, we have military simulators such as the Arma series, but we no longer receive single-player FPS games that are gameplay-oriented, tactical, and slow-paced. There is one game coming out that I'm excited about though. Ready or Not seems to be a spiritual successor to the SWAT series, bringing back gritty realism and strategy to the FPS ideal. It looks promising so far, but only time will tell. Thanks for watching this video. It's different from what I usually do, but I wanted to give this format a try. If you enjoy it, please give it a like. If you want to see more of my content, subscribe. If you think one of your friends may enjoy this video, share it with them. Well, goodbye until the next upload.